I don't care about prices. I care about discipline. I care about bringing inventories to a normal. Once this curve once the inventory levels are within the contours of the 2015-2019, that is comforting.
Joining us now is Amrita Sen, Chief Oil Analyst at Energy Aspects. Amrita, great to have you on the program. The post-game analysis, what a meeting it was. This morning, Brent crude, $67.59. All the banks are just upping their targets. Goldman, notably, third quarter, $80. What's the risk of over-tightening now on the market?
Hi. Yeah, look, I think there is some risk around over-tightening. I definitely think that even if not for April, OPEC and particularly Saudi Arabia needs to start talking about how they will bring back the barrels in Q3. The physical market right now isn't super strong. Part of it is because of seasonal maintenance, right? Like we've got all the refineries going down for works in April. I think the minister's aware of that, and I think people have been telling him, even my conversations with the Saudi ministry have kind of pointed towards them thinking, look, if we add 1.4 million barrels per day in April, prices could correct lower, potentially to the 5 handle. And I don't think Saudi Arabia can really afford to see that. Like they would like to keep prices above 60. So that was definitely a driver. But I think if they continue with this, I think that's the critical thing. April is one thing, but like May, June, that's when demand really starts to pick up. But like you said, you know, at the press conference when we were there, he clearly said, I want to see it first. I want to see the demand pick up first rather than believing people's expectations. That's a very, very clear message that he's going to be reactive rather than proactive. And that's where the over-tightening comes in.
Yeah, when I asked him if he thinks we're on the cusp of a super cycle, he said, I need to see it first. This is someone who wants to see results before he does any sort of movement. In one sense, Amrita, it's a win for the Saudis. They pushed for cautiousness and they got it. On the other sense, yet again, Russia gets an exemption. Why are they doing all the heavy lifting themselves? I thought they wanted everyone to share the burden.
Yeah, so did everybody else. And look, I think this has been an interesting move like last time, right? Like when they gave Russia and Kazakhstan the little bit of exemption saying, oh, it's domestic demand. Understandable in February, March, you know, the cold weather has been pretty strong there. However, the April number, again, Russia disagrees with the Saudi thinking right now. They ultimately want to get to the same place. They both want a rebalancing, but Russia prefers to err on the side of caution. They don't want to over-tighten because they are concerned about what will this do to overall consumers. And I'm sure you've seen headlines out of India today. Of course, they're complaining again. And of course, Prince Abdulaziz had a lot of things to say about that as well yesterday. And they are worried, and Russia is also worried about shale, which Saudi isn't. So they have a different tactic. And I think what Saudi Arabia has realized, and others as well, is that because oil prices are so much higher now, about $25 prior to the last meeting, like fine, Russia doesn't agree, but rather than holding up the entire team or entire group for it and repeating what happened in April last year, that's the big no-no. They're like, fine, we'll give you an exemption, but all of us reap the rewards of higher prices. But to your point, it's win-win for Russia. They get higher prices, higher revenues, and higher production. So I don't know how long it can continue for. That's the biggest question.